following right on the heels of my Galaxy Z Fold3 review. If you haven't seen it, it's up here. Go check it out. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Samsung's other flagship folding phone, the Z Flip3. So I've spent about as much time with this phone as I have the Fold, minus 1 day because they couldn't come at the same time. That'd be way too easy. My outlook on this phone is highly optimistic, maybe even a little more optimistic than the Fold. And there's a couple reasons for that we'll get into. But first of all, I just want to go over the design. This thing is gorgeous. Now obviously I have the lavender flavor. I was torn between this and cream, which, come on guys, it's banana. It's not cream, it's very much banana. I think I made the right choice. You know, I was kind of torn, and then I got to go play with it at my local Best Buy in the cream color. I was like, oh man, this is kind of nice. I put them side by side and I said, yeah, no, I made the right choice with lavender. The construction of it is pretty much all glass and metal, aside from the primarily plastic screen. There is glass in there, but it's not glass to the touch. Say something along the lines of the S21, which I did a video on up here. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. But the screen protector on it this year is 80% harder than it was last year. I can comfortably say I believe that, because even though this is maybe the dumbest thing I've done in the past month or so, I went to town on this. I shoved my fingernail into the display and I just scratched at it. The only visible marks were just my fingernails removing the fingerprints on the screen. So I believe it. It is stronger, it is more durable. Doesn't mean you can throw it all around willy-nilly and it'll be fine. But the hinge feels nice. You know, I haven't had anything get in there. It's still smooth, still nice 3 weeks later. The outside screen is pretty nice. My only complaint is I wish that there were more actions that you could take on things from the outside screen without having to open the phone and open the app, which is fine. But I wish it was more of a Galaxy Watch type deal where you have the option to like a tweet or retweet or like an Instagram, but you know, that kind of stuff. That's not exactly present here. Maybe it's an option you can turn on that I haven't found, but it's not there for me. The specs on this thing are no slouch whatsoever. You got Snapdragon 888, 8 gigs of RAM, dual 12 megapixel cameras, one wide, one ultra wide, a 6.7 inch 2640 by 1080p 120 hertz foldable AMOLED display. Battery's a little small at 3300 milliamp hours, and we will talk about that in a couple minutes. But overall, this phone isn't bad. It's a flagship tier phone for a flagship price, which we'll also talk about. So my experience with the Flip 3 has been pretty interesting and contradictory to what I thought it would be. I thought that I was gonna buy this and I would love the Fold so much more than this that I just wouldn't want to keep this and I'd send this back, get my $1,000 back. That is very clearly not the case, since we are 3 weeks into this phone, almost 4 weeks now. And I still have it. It's still right here. And I think what I love most about this phone is the fact that it's just a phone. It's got regular flagship phone specs. It's got a flagship phone screen size. Although a little narrow and a little tall, it is still very much within the realm of what you see out there nowadays. 6.7 inches is not uncommon. So it's just like a regular old flagship phone, you know, checks all the boxes, it's got multiple cameras, it's got a pretty big display, it's got some substantial build quality, top of line specs. But the one differentiating feature, it does that. And I didn't think that would be enough to keep me hooked. You know, the Fold is obviously a tablet that you can turn into a phone. This is a phone that you can turn into a neutered watch and just kind of stuff it in your back pocket and not give two thoughts. For the most part, it's just a regular old phone that you can do this to. It's got the specs of something equivalent to my S21 with maybe the screen of, what was it, S21 Plus that has 6.7 this year. It's very much a regular flagship phone, but it folds. And that's mostly been my experiences. This is just kind of like a regular phone to me. I've been using it as a regular phone, whereas the Fold I've used as a tablet primarily, to read, to watch videos. This is more of social media and texting and phone stuff. Now the performance has been pretty solid. It does get a little toasty because all the functional parts of the phone are in the top half. So realistically, all the heat dissipation that you have is in this top half of the phone, and that is very noticeable. I played maybe an hour and a half of Pokemon Go and it got super toasty. Not as toasty as my iPhone 6S running iOS 15. Be on the lookout for that video that's coming probably within a week or so. But it was definitely abnormally warm. But with that being said, it still performed incredibly well. Battery life was all right. I mean, I got through probably like 3/4 to 4/5 of my days with like 3 or 4 hours of screen on time. It's not the greatest, but it's a smaller battery, so that's kind of to be expected. But most of the days that I use this, I would find myself dropping it on a charger sometime throughout the day. It never really consistently made it a whole day with my use case. Your use case may vary, but with mine, I definitely needed to charge it throughout the day. And then we come to the price. This phone, as configured, is $999.99 US, so $1,000. That is killer for this phone. That is what I think is going to sell this phone long term. This is in mid-range flagship territory, right? So that $1,000 tag puts it up with iPhone 12 Pro, now the iPhone 13 Pro. I believe the S21 Plus is about $1,000 bucks. OnePlus 9 Pro is like $1,050. This is not at all unreasonably priced for what you're getting. And to top it off, again, it folds. So we've hit the point where this is just another phone that folds. And I think that's what this phone is here to do, is to put folding phones on the radars of normal people. Because if you're going to the store to spend $1,000, this is gonna be on the table with everything else that I just listed and probably some others. So I think that this is not really meant to push the boundaries of foldables, but it's meant to push people's perspectives of foldables and kind of like show, hey, maybe this is something that I can actually get behind. It's kind of cheap now. Well, $1,000 is still $1,000, but it's relatively cheap now. It's relatively accessible. It's got a bunch of the features that you're going to find in a standard candy bar brick phone, right? I mean, the battery is a little lackluster, the cameras are passable, but everything else is there. The specs, the processor, the RAM, the screen, everything's there. So, should you get one? Maybe. This is a solid maybe. If you're in the market for a $1,000 phone, this is not bad. This is absolutely not a terrible consideration. If you want the bleeding edge stuff, top of the line specs, good display, good cameras, and you also want to dabble in folding, this is it. This is the phone you want. And it's also now at $1,000, very achievable. So would I recommend this phone? Yes, 100% yes. Should you get it? Maybe. That's up to you. I'm not here to tell you what you should and shouldn't buy. I'm here to tell you what are good options to consider. And this is definitely one of those options. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, tell me what you want to see on the Flip 4. Tell me what you want to see next year. Be sure to keep an eye on the channel this week. I've got a ton of content planned, and I'll catch you guys in those videos. See you then.